They're so damn big, I ordered 30 hammers. Niggas claim they got a tool and never used a hammer.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about infamous rappers and what made them choose the names they did. If you're interested in finding out what the story behind some guys like JayZ and Lil Nas X, well, stick around and we'll fill you in. First though, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for future videos like this. Now on to a bit of fun. First up is the one and only JayZ. JayZ is arguably one of the biggest rappers in the game, and so it's hard not to have heard of him, even if you just know him as Queen B's husband. However, we're pretty sure you know him from some of his hits such as Empire State of Mind or 99 Problems. Well, obviously his name isn't actually JayZ. He was born into this world as Sean Corey Carter. The name JayZ was derived from his days as a youngster where he was known to most as Jazzy. He later changed it to JayZ as homage to his mentor, rapper, and producer, Jaz-O. It was also a nod to the JayZ trade lines of his hometown, Brooklyn. Next up is 50 Cent. Curtis James Jackson III is better known to most as 50 Cent, but he wasn't always the icon behind In the Club. In fact, he started his days drug dealing to get by, but thankfully had a sense to step out of the game and pursue his passion of rapping. The rap name he took comes from Kelvin 50 Cent Darnell Martin, a stick-up kid from the 80s. The 50 Cent we all know and love felt like he had a ton in common with the guy. For starters, they both been shot several times and walked away from it. If you watch the infamous Times Volume 1, the original 50 Cent DVD, 50 Cent talks more about his name's origin and the mentality he feels the two of them shared. Now on to Slim Shady himself, Eminem. Eminem is a lyrical genius and arguably one of the most well-known rappers in the game. You may know him from some of his hits such as Rap God, The Real Slim Shady, or Lose Yourself. Rappers tend to stick to shorter aliases, especially if their actual names are pretty long. This was the case for Eminem, whose real name is Marshall Mathers. While he mentions his name in a lot of his music, it's a bit of a mouthful and not that catchy. This led him to going by his initials, Eminem, which he later changed to the slightly longer Eminem. Good thing we did, as we're not sure how impressed the chocolate company would be. Up next, A$AP Rocky. You might know A$AP Rocky from one of his hits such as Out of This World or Palace, but you might also know him from his long-ago ties to Kylie Jenner. If you don't know any of his stuff, check it out because there's a reason he's so hot on the rap scene. As far as the name goes, the stylized acronym isn't just to specify to Rocky. In fact, there's an entire A$AP mob made up of rappers with acronyms in front of their stage names, and Rocky is just one of many. The A$AP specifically stands for Always Strive and Prosper, which is a good code to live by. The Rocky part of the name is the nickname given by his mom as a kid. It plays off of his actual name, Rakim Myers, named after the legendary rapper Rakim. Pretty cool roots, right? Snoop Dogg is next on the list. Everyone's heard of Snoop. Whether you're a huge fan, you know him from one of his many collaborations, or you really just like the weed memes. He's an icon and has been for decades now. Well, obviously he wasn't always known as Snoop Dogg. In fact, born Cordoza Calvin Broadus, Snoop took his alias from the name given to him when he was a kid. As a youngster, his mom would always call him Snoopy, and he embraced it with his rap career. He later added Doggy Dog to the Charlie Brown-inspired nickname when he first joined Death Row Records. Now on to Wiz Khalifa. Wiz's backstory is pretty cool. Born Cameron Jabril Thomas, Khalifa's name was inspired by his uncle's own name, the Arabic word for knowledge. In his youth, Khalifa named himself Wisdom and had the Khalifa added by his uncle as it meant successor. So they, him himself included, all clearly had big expectations from him from the very beginning. He was also called Young Wiz by almost every one of his friends growing up, purely because they all thought he was good at everything. Not a bad reputation to have. Next brings us Lil Nas X. Lil Nas X rose to fame incredibly quickly with the release of his song Old Town Road in 2019 and has stayed fresh on the scene ever since. But obviously his name isn't actually Lil Nas X. His real one is pretty cool though. Lil Nas X's real name is actually Montero Lamar Hill. And yes, before you ask, he is named after the car. His mom couldn't afford one but always wanted one, so she made it happen. As for his stage name, Nas was his internet alias before stardom and he just stuck with it. He wanted the Little because he just liked a bunch of rappers that had the name Little in their names, and the X came after, presumably just because it sounded cool. Agreed. Up next is French Montana. Kareem Carbouch, aka French Montana's stage name has a bit more of a reason behind it than Lil Nas X's. He wanted to include the history and culture of his homeland Morocco in his stage name. He was inspired by the French influence on Morocco from when they had tried to take it over and claims that there's still a ton of French influence there. The Montana part of his stage name comes from the fascination with Tony Montana, whom he thinks he bears a bit of resemblance with. We won't judge others' inspirations, of course. Next up is Juice WRLD. Born Gerard Anthony Higgins, Juice WRLD is known most notably for his song Lucid Dream. dreams. Originally, Higgins went by the stage name Juice the Kid, which was influenced by one of his icons, Tupac Shakur's part in the film Juice. However, he later changed it to Juice WRLD because it represented taking over the world. Now his name has both personal meaning to him as well as giving homage to one of his childhood heroes growing up. This takes us to Gucci Mane. While you might recognize this rapper from his ensemble of Gucci gear that he's always spotted wearing, the designer brand is not actually responsible for his stage name. Born Radrick Delantic Davis, Gucci Mane took the Gucci part of his alias from the nickname of his father. While it was his grandmother that gave him this name, Gucci Mane has said on several occasions that his grandmother didn't know anything about the designer brand, so she wasn't inspired by it either. Now on to 2 Chainz. Don't be fooled by the no-lie rapper's name. It honestly has nothing to do with the fact that he wears 2 Chainz constantly. That was apparently just a habit he picked up along the way. Originally known as Titty Boy, I know, talk about catchy, 2 Chainz changed his alias to this as a reminder that everyone gets a second chance. He's even said before in an interview with Fuse that if y'all don't see me with jewelry, I'm still 2 Chainz. At least we've got that covered. Next up is the one and only Cardi B. It's hard not to love Cardi B. Whether you're a huge fan of her songs, I Like It, or WAP, or not, she's just one of the coolest celebrities on the scene at the moment. Like several other world-renowned rappers on this list, her alias is actually inspired by a simple nickname from her family. Born Belcalis Marlenis Almazar, Cardi B eventually became Bacardi amongst her friends and family, as her sister was called Hennessy. Everyone started calling her after her favorite rum. It became Cardi B over time instead because of her Instagram, but Cardi B kept getting deleted. Oh, copyright infringements. Now on to Ice Cube. If there's one rapper on this list that deserves to be called the sound of the 90s, it's Ice Cube. The Check Yourself rapper was born O'Shea Jackson and has a pretty funny story as to how his stage name got about. You might have heard it before because it's a fan favorite story. It dates back to when he was around 13 years old and was actually given to him by his brother Clyde. Ice Cube has recounted on several occasions the way he used to talk to his older brother's girlfriends when they'd call the house, and one day he took it too far for Clyde. He explained in an interview that back when he was a kid, you'd always see refrigerators dumped on the side of the street when they were done with. Well, one day after getting on Clyde's last nerve, his brother told him, "Yo, that refrigerator down the street, I'm gonna take you down there, I'm slamming you in the freezer, and when they pull you out, you're gonna be an ice cube." That's an origin story if there ever was one. Last but not least is Megan Thee Stallion. Megan's alias is simple but cool. She was born Megan Pete and is one of few rappers to actually kept any part of their birth name in their stage name. The Stallion part merely comes from the fact that she was often called a stallion growing up because of her tall build in comparison to everyone else's. That's everything we have for you today, guys, but let us know if we missed any cool rap name origin stories on the list. Also, let us know if you want to see another video like this in the comments because there will never be a shortage of wacky names in the rap industry. Don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it and make sure to subscribe and turn notifications on too. We'll see you for another video. Take care.